right, joining us, Chris and I, this morning is Jeff Puffer with the Jeffrey Puffer Insurance Agency, and you're based out of Conneaut Lake, Pennsylvania.
Correct, Pat.
One of my favorite places out there in Conneaut Lake. Jeff, I don't think you remember this, but do you remember playing in the Indians and Farm team?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact.
You were only like 6 years old or something.
How does he remember?
I do
I think I was 7, but maybe couldn't be 7.
I don't think you were 7 yet because there was some reason, because I think he could have been in Little League at that time, but I don't know if you're old enough. But anyway, Coach Garcia was our coach.
Yeah.
And
Andy Garcia.
This little guy, this little blonde kid comes up, and he never talked. He was always quiet. But you were very good for that being that young, and went on, of course, to become a ball player and stuff as you got older and stuff too. What team did you play on in Little League?
The Reds.
The Reds. That was a good team.
That was Greg Williams, and his dad was the coach.
Yeah.
Dave White was on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denny Borsch used to be on the Reds too, I think, but I don't know if he was gone by the time you.
He might have been.
Because you're considerably younger than us guys.
Yeah.
But
we were always a notch below the Senators. Ted Jansen, all them guys always won.
See, I was on the original Senators, and we never won a game.
Oh.
Then they went on, when Jansen took over, they went on to become champs and that stuff. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Second base.
Oh.
Yeah. That's because I couldn't throw from shortstop to first base. But those are good old days. Jeff, wanted to have you on the show. You got a good high recommendation from Jim Bailey. Now, did he buy a policy from you?
Yes. Even though I'm in Conneaut Lake, I travel all around. Actually, I cover Ohio and Pennsylvania. But I happened to run into him, and of course, I'm friends with his sister, and I'm friends with Jim too. But with Judy being more around my class. But anyway, yeah, I said, I got a little policy I'd like to show you, and insurance isn't really, won't wake up to buy insurance every day.
Right.
But he was polite, and he let me show it to him. And then next thing you know, he says, wow, I'll buy that.
Really?
Yeah. And so he bought it, and now he's become an avid fan.
He is. He's sent me 2 or 3 emails since he bought this that you got to get Jeff Puffer on there on cancer insurance. And the other day we had Debbie Newcomb on the show, and she said that she, before she got breast cancer, she had cancer insurance, and it helped her out. Of course, you can only use it one time. Is that correct, Jeff? I mean, if you have a cancer, and then...
Well, it's not quite right. So, depending which policy you have, let's say it that way.
Okay.
You might have like a lump sum policy, and you get a one-time payment, or you might have an indemnity policy that pays continually. I've had guys have surgeries, another surgery, and actually collect 3 or 4 times.
Really?
Really.
So what's the difference between just a regular health insurance policy where you go to the hospital and what things are covered and so on, and a cancer policy? I mean, why would you add that on top of your regular health insurance?
Most guys add it depends your age. But let's just say, if we can just take Jim's age as an example, since we brought him up. I wouldn't have brought his name up for privacy, but since you did.
Yeah, I did.
It's okay. But no, we're all friends here. The main idea is, heaven forbid you're faced with that situation. 1 out of 3 women, 1 out of 2 men basically will. And it's not that your insurance is good or bad. However, I'm going to be selling the Affordable Care Act this year, and the deductibles and co-payments can run into thousands and thousands of dollars. The average person with an income usually doesn't plan $6,000 or $8,000 out of their pocket. So a cancer policy, Chris, would come in and pay you the cash that you could use towards that, or if you're still working and maybe you miss work or maybe you don't, but maybe your added medicine costs turns out. I mean, I had a guy call me with pancreatic cancer. He says, Jeff, my cancer treatment's going to be $6,000 a month.
Mm.
So pancreatic cancer isn't a good one, but anyway, he says, well, we can cover 3,000 of it a month, and he says, wow, that's great, that's better than 6.
Yeah.
So you would buy it as a backup.
So is there a deductible, or does that depend on what policy you buy? I mean, is there a deductible that has to be met before the cancer insurance kicks in?
No, if we just use as the average cancer policy I sell, and there's a reason why Jim bought it, by the way, and there's a reason probably, I don't know, 300 or 400 people around Conneaut have it. But it would pay like so much for treatment, so much for surgery, so much a day in the hospital. Actually, when you get diagnosed, you get an upfront check and instant cash. And so so there's no deductible, it wouldn't work that way. But the average person on it, yeah, the average claim is 8 to 10,000, just hospital surgery treatments. Now I just had somebody finish 60 treatments, 30 and 30. My uncle Steve Vosick years ago drove to Cleveland Clinic, and actually before I even started selling this type of policy, he had 30 radiation, 30 chemo, so there's 60 trips to Cleveland. How about that gas money? I mean, time and effort, lost wages. So it's hard to recoup that. So a cancer policy, you're not buying it to make money, but it pays you the cash, and then you can use the money how you need to.
Right, right.
Okay, so
Is it something relatively new, or has it been out
no,
there?
I think it's been out for a while.
It's been out, but this company in particular that I offer since 1970 was home based in Cleveland, Ohio. And the reason I tied in with them, I knew there was a company that did this, but I didn't know who it was. And at the time, Capital American, and since then they've changed a couple names, just like all the banks in town changed names. But yeah, so you pay in your premium every 20 years or age 75 if you purchase it between the age of 18 and 65, and then at 75 or 20 years, whichever comes first,
Right.
you get all your money back.
Oh,
Yeah.
so,
So you get coverage if you need it,
right.
money back if you don't.
So it's an investment.
So the next thing people say is, how much interest do I get?
I'd say none, because that's the, right,
Well, how
that's the
much
whole point.
The bank doesn't give you cancer
Right.
coverage, so
Right.
so you don't get, but it's a investment. I mean, even 20 years ago when I started selling this company, other than that, I didn't have a lot of family members involved with cancer. Now my dad's brother died of, kidney cancer, and then I've had a number of relatives, of course, in the cancer battle.
Yeah.
And it's not like 20 years ago, cancer was such a bad word. But today, the recovery and the treatments and everything. I was just at the doctor's office Friday getting my checkup, and the nurse that waited on me there, she had pancreatic cancer and has beat it. She's cancer free.
Wow.
I know.
Right.
Very rare.
Very.
So now what about a person who has had cancer? How long do they have to be clear before, or can they ever purchase cancer insurance?
They can. That's a great question. It does depend on the policy then. So there's a 5-year wait and there's a 10-year wait, and depending what the situation is, that's a great question. Most people think they can't ever. And even up to age 85, I offer policies that will cover. And not to change the subject, but you said it, why would somebody purchase this? Most people buy these sometimes Medicare Advantage plans, and they're okay, but they do have one loophole that exposes a lot of risk, and that's the Part B chemo treatments, and it's 20%. So if you have 10 treatments and it's $2,000 each, you could owe $4,000 or $5,000 rather easily.
Right.
And so somebody even on Medicare, if they have that plan, might purchase a plan as a backup.
Okay.
So now I'm assuming that the older you get, the more expensive the premiums are. That makes sense.
It is for the most part. The money back policy is a little bit more than average, However, this company is, if I may use the term, old school. So they don't ask tobacco. They don't ask your height and weight.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
No.
I mean, because there are a lot of people that fall into those negative qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive me, but I think Jim at the time saw this and realized, and like, I'm not interested in any insurance, but then he saw it and he heard it, and non-tobacco, tobacco, same rate, height, weight, don't matter, cancer-free for so long. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he's like, wow, everybody should know about this, but I do my best to get around and see people and best I can.
So you do sell in Conneaut then? I mean, you have a lot of
Absolutely.
contacts here from over the years. What's a normal policy cost, Jeff?
Let's say you're 66, you're cancer free for 6 years, and you're a female.
An average $10,000 policy probably is less than about $1 a day.
So about $30 a month.
$30 a month for 10 grand policy.
Okay.
So that
So
would cover
it's-
you up to $10,000. I mean, you would get up to
That example. If
You can get
change-
more though, right? You
if-
can put.
You could buy 20, 30, 40,
Okay.
50.
Okay.
If we change that question to 64, then that policy would basically run about 36 a month. It'd be more of an indemnity policy like we talked about.
Yeah.
But it'd be 36 a month, and at age 75, they would get all their money back.
Okay.
That's the age. I was going to ask you. The age is 75. For
65 or younger to purchase it to get the money back.
okay. Okay.
However, this company has all these little tricks still. So if you're married to a younger spouse and you're 70 and they're 64 or younger, the spouse can buy it for you and get the younger rate and get the money back when they would have.
For goodness sakes.
Yes. And Jim heard that and he couldn't believe it. Forgive me, Jim.
I hope he's listening because this is he requested this interview. so-
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
So you would be too old to get it then.
He's just throwing that out there.
Right, I guess so. To get the money back,
Oh yes. Okay.
I could still get it.
Okay.
But I mean,
Absolutely.
we had, I had the Medicare Advantage my first year that I was on Medicare.
Okay.
And, because my husband and I both healthy, and we looked at what our exposure was, if something, God forbid, had happened. And it made sense that we went with that because we were only paying like $36 a month for the coverage. Well, then the next year, in comes Affordable Care, in comes some other issues, and our exposure doubled. And that got to the point where, and of course we're a year older, so we decided to go with, another Medigap plan to, but we
Perfect.
still have a cheap one because, and again, there's more exposure, but again, we're playing the, rolling the dice.
Great. Right.
No, there's 10 different Medigap policies you can get, and
Right.
depending, what you want to get, some's a little more coverage, a little less, and of course
Let's take this phone call here, guys. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Pat, Jeff.
There he is, Jim Bailey.
I'm online. It's a good thing I got up a little earlier because I think Jeff said he's going to be on around 6.
Your
But
time,
anyway,
baby.
that policy, when he first asked, hey, can I show you this policy? I said, no. He asked me again, I said, no. And then Dolly said, just listen to what he has to say, so. And I don't know, it's kind of like, Dolly liked it. She said, God, how can you go wrong? Like for us, it's $69.20 a month for the two of us. And after 10 years, we get our money back at 2%.
Well, I don't know about the 2%.
No, that's what you told me.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Hot. Uh-oh.
So,
I thought that
I
was
thought he
good,
would
Matt.
be too old to get that. Oh, he was 64 when he took it.
No.
Right.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 64, seeing Dolly had ovarian cancer 12 years ago, so the only thing she had to supply was something from the doctor saying she'd been cancer-free for 10 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's kind of, God, how can you go wrong if you get all your money back?
Right.
Right, it's an investment.
Yeah,
I
and you have the
don't
coverage.
I don't want to say Jim, but so picture me as the agent, and
Yeah,
I'm
I got
talking
it.
to my friend, and he's 64, and I know I have this policy, and I know he doesn't want to look at it, but I'm like, what if? Why don't I'll just show it?
Right.
And then I figure out, like he said, Dolly had some issues there 12 years ago. Perfect. The past 10 years. I mean, it was just a perfect how it fell in. It could have went the other way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She could have had
Right.
cancer 3 years ago.
Right.
And, yeah.
But anyway, I just, Dolly thought, wow, how can you miss? How can you go wrong? So we went ahead and signed up. My sister had it, which I never knew, and her policy is due, I think it's next year, or 10 years is in.
Huh.
Let me just slow down, Jim. It's 10 years for if you're 64, at 75, or 20 years for younger people.
Oh, okay.
So yes, yours.
That's her problem.
No,
I
but
know.
he's right.
Right.
His sister, her policy is maturing next year, so she will get a full refund.
Wow.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I thought that was just great. I mean, how many policies out there do you get your money back after the term?
I know.
You
That
still have
shocked
the
me.
coverage in between.
That really threw me off.
And it's like for you, Pat, your wife's younger. It's like I'm younger than Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
So we got my age rate. I was 64.
Right.
And so yours would be, if you got it, it would be at Michelle's age.
Okay.
Whoa, that might be way good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
way good, man.
Way good.
Yeah. She's
So anyway,
she's
I
12
just
years
thought I
old.
heard you say you didn't think I was up.
No,
But I am up. I am listening. And I'll let you get back to talking about the insurance.
All right, Jimmy. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We got to take a quick break. We'll be back with Jeff Puffer right after this. All right, back with Jeff Puffer from the Jeff Puffer Insurance Agency, based out of Conneaut Lake, Pennsylvania. Is that where you live, Jeff?
Yes,
Conneaut Lake?
yes, Conneaut Lake.
Home of Conneaut Lake Park.
Yes, Pumpkin Fest, Saturday and Sunday, they expected 30,000 people.
Is that right?
Yes,
Holy
they did.
mackerel. Do you live by the lake there?
Well, 2 mile from the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That used to be a big deal when we were kids to go to Conneaut Lake Park.
It was.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't been back there for a while, but
It isn't there anymore, is it? Or, I mean,
yeah, it's
it's
there.
still
Oh,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
The Kitty Land is going, and
Right.
they did
brought a
close
lot-
down the roller coaster, right? They changed. They
No, it's still there, but they haven't used it. Right?
Yeah, because there was some safety problems or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like Park.
Well, insurance for it, it's 115 years old. So
Yeah. It's
Trying to write him a policy there.
Yeah. Why not?
that's not I don't do that.
Good to hear from Jim Bailey, Jeff. You want to make a comment about some of the things he said, or?
Well, just a quick comment. Jim talked about Dolly saying, wow, how can you go wrong? So actually we call that the win-win solution. So you're either going to use it one way or the other, and if you pass away, people always say to me, well, what do I get back? Well, then it's just like your car insurance, your house insurance. If you're not here, then it's gone, obviously. But it's trying to protect you along the way.
Right.
I think it's excellent. I think it's
Right. And once you die, you don't really need it.
You know.
So you can't take it with you.
Right.
Now, how long have you been doing this, Jeff? 30 years, did you say?
Yeah, I started insurance 30 years ago. Tim Wheeler actually got me into it.
Tim, yeah.
Yeah, my cousin from
Yeah.
Conneaut. And yeah, next thing you know, I've been doing it 30 years, so what am I going to do now? Just, I can't even pump gas at the Shell station anymore. So,
See, Tim has been in insurance business for a lot of years. I used to have insurance through him years ago.
yeah, I think he's 32 or 33.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I haven't seen him for a while.
he's still in Cambridge Springs.
Is he?
Just any veterans out there that end up in a nursing home situation, Tim is a specialist on that. I'm going to forget the name of it, but it's where veterans can qualify for long-term care so much a month, even as a widower, as a widow,
Okay.
and he helps them qualify for that.
Okay. I haven't seen him for a long time. Of course, his brother and I are best friends, Dick
Yeah.
Wheeler. And it's been a while since I've seen Mark every now and then. Now, do you have a phone number that people can get a hold of you? Maybe have some questions for you, Jeff?
Sure, it's my cell phone business number is 814. It's 671 1096. And that'd be the easiest, best way. They can call anytime. I've had people call me on New Year's Day before. I don't encourage that, but no, I'm pretty much available anytime. I really get a kick out of people when they call me and I call them back. They say, wow, you called me back.
Yeah, I know.
So I do try to give a little bit of the service with
You have an office also right there in Conneaut Lake, right?
right in my home.
In your home? Okay.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a nice office in the basement there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we moved there 27 years ago. Wow.
Now, I'm catching up with you now, because I haven't seen you for a while, but family, you have family? Kids?
My one son's 30, just got engaged. And yeah. And we have the one son, yeah, Gretchen and I, we've been married 38 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything's fine.
Good.
He's got his graduated Slippery Rock, got a job in D.C. area. He's an auditor for the Army.
Really?
Well, he's on the civilian side, but he gets all their benefits.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, Tim Wheeler's with Operation Veteran Benefits. Found that out when they had the D-Day thing up at the villa, and he was there.
Okay.
And a spouse of a veteran can get benefits now, too, in a supported living, and that's never been true before.
Okay.
So that was interesting. to
All
find
right,
out.
Gene. Thank you, Gene. Appreciate that. Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Gene Fields. Giving the official title of
Thank you.
Tim, yeah. Well, Jeff, There's another subject I want to talk to you about. We won't have time to do it today, but maybe you can come back and see us on Medicare. A lot of
Sure.
questions on Medicare. We had Ann Wiley on the other day, and I thought maybe you could talk about it as well. Because both of us are on Medicare now.
Yeah, it's hard to believe 30 years ago I started selling, and now in 2 years I'll be buying my own policy. So-
Yeah, it goes by quick, buddy.
Oh, doesn't it?
Sure does.
It really does. Jeff, thank you so much. Come back and see us if you would, and stay in touch. We're getting another call. I don't want to shut anybody off. Hi, you're on the air. Hello?
Oh, they hung up.
He probably thought I was going to take it. All right. All right, coming up, we have Sealy Medical here, and they're going to talk about breast cancer products that ladies can get out there. So we're kind of dedicating the whole show to breast cancer awareness, which is that this entire month. Is it? That's right, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes.
It is.
Okay, okay.
October.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and we'll be back right after this.
And thank you, Pat.
You did a good job.